So this one is yung value chain and vendor landscape, no? Where we're going to be discussing saan ba paano magiging beneficial yung Open Run, and ano yung mga current vendor, no, na not entire coverage, no, since the study that we were able to harvest is really from European Union, no? So they are comparing saan sila malakas, saan sila mahina. Basically, they're looking for fields na pwede pa nilang pasukin within Open Run. So they also believe na this would be a very good opportunity for them to uh, hone their R&D and do some manufacturing, and of course sell their products and services to the market based on, of course, yung predicted value ng Open Run in the near future. Okay. So topics is Open Run value chain categories, findings from recent European studies, future estimates on where and how much Open Run would be able to generate for various economies, and ano yung mga vendor distribution natin, and paano mga Open Run adoption, how it happened. Yeah. Okay. So value chain, basically we want to change from closed proprietary solutions to Open Run and make a shift in paradigm in network architecture, and basically plus with interoperability, says kahit na there is a value in breaking down a large monolithic environment like a radio access network, and have various companies compete amongst each other and be the best on various modules, hindi lang na yun nga naka-tie up ka sa isang vendor, and while you want a feature from another vendor, you cannot really do it kasi you need to replace everything, which is very expensive. So if you have modularized components in a radio access network, yung at least yung benta, you would have a substantial increase in beneficial technology, kasi pwede ngang mag-develop ka for specific component, and then now you could create and replace that specific module lang and don't have to replace your entire run environment, and then you would have that benefit na. And yung innovations and technologies would really skyrocket, at least yung expected na result with this one, since telcos again tends to be slow, hard to adapt, and waits for the next generation, which is almost a decade before they shift. This would make them faster to adopt various technology. So what's value chain? We know about supply chain, where these are yung mga raw resources, and they would build products and services and then distribute them to customers. Yung driver nito is business, so they are dictating saan tayo kukuha ng raw materials, saan tayo magma-manufacture, saan tayo magte-test, paano natin di-distribute yung products, paano mag-market. So that's the supply chain. Difference between value chain. So I found this article in NetSuite, which practically summarizes and sums up what we need to differentiate supply chain versus value chain. It's the value chain, in comparison to supply chain, where so supply chain driver is yung business. So the value chain is the customer. So you the customer basically would try to figure out ano yung mga services that would be very beneficial sa kanya. And these are basically business management process and market research, to check ano yung kailangan ng customer, and we should be able to deliver it as intended. May parang weird lang dito, I mean, if you could actually see Apple, they do have some focus group discussion, but a lot of those stuff na ginagawa nila, they don't really talk to the customer. May saying si Steve Jobs before, that the customer doesn't know what they want, so they are creating a product that the customer would want. And yung mga drastic measures na ginagawa nila, laging I wouldn't say advanced sila or something doon, no? But they are, uh, what's appropriate? Hindi ako makahanap ng adjective for it. No? So, example, if buhay na kayo before, no? Yung tinanggal nila yung floppy drive sa Mac, parang tas lahat ng mga laptops yun, ano, may mga floppy drives pa. No? So, apinams yung mga tao na, ba't natanggal yan? Kailangan natin lahat na may interface nga. Then siguro yung next would be, hindi naman next, no? But another na mas recent, when they remove yung audio plug sa phones, no? Everyone was up in arms na, hindi, kailangan namin audio plug. But at least yung the reason ni Apple to remove the audio plug was they wanted to create less avenue for water to come in para yung and dust, no? Para mas yung IPX rating ni iPhones and iPads, no, would increase. And also, of course, they're selling dongles, no, and wireless headset, which is more convenient for the customer. Less wires, okay, but of course, more products for Apple to sell. But yun yung difference between that. So, there are various categories in open RAN value chain, no, where vendors, no, might be able to figure out na saan ba kami okay dito. So we have chips and related components in semiconductors. We got hardware. And this involves, of course, mga various hardware components ng radio units, antennas, DUs, even small cell devices. If you don't have manufacturing capabilities pero magaling ka mag-develop ng software, no, you could maybe try yung RAN software. Right? That would be deployed, of course, sa mga hardware, no, or maybe sa cloud that you could now do virtualized network functions or containerized network functions. No? Another would be maybe you're not good at hardware or software, no, but in cloud architecture you are, or that's your group's expertise, no. So this could be where you would be able to make your mark, no, in Open RAN, and either you're experts on various cloud platform or specific cloud platform, and you could you've studied and you said that you could use that on your customers, no, which are telcos. This might be it, or maybe services, no. You don't have any capability on development, no, but you could maintain, no, or monitor your Open RAN's deployment and basically augment, no, yung mga various telcos natin. For this, then yeah, this might be a good how do you call this avenue for you, or even system integration and testing, no? Again, it's a service, papadalang ka nila ng product, testingin mo end to end, and you would be able to come out with the result, and then they would decide, no, if this product is useful sa environment nila or they need more spec or lower spec, no, for cost effectivity. Yeah. And of course, last would be R&D, no, development, no. So you could do this, but this is a bit more, I would say, expensive if you're gonna do the hardware component. But a lot of Open RAN is also based on open source, especially for the software side, no. Maybe you could have expertise there, no, and how you call this, make a business out of it. So from recent studies, actually recent European studies, they were mapping, no, let's say for semiconductors, no, these are yung mga hardware components and elements like general purpose processors, silicon chipsets, RF, and foundry, no. In a traditional RAN until 4G, no, even 5G, no, these are designed by one vendor, okay, or maybe they would be getting chips from other vendors, no, but and chipsets, no, but they would make it as a product on their own, and you could only buy that for from a specific vendor for deployment in your RAN. And when Europe basically attempted to map, no, saan sila magaling dito, may color coding pala, no. So yung European status, red is mahina sila, yellow is meron sila somewhat, no? And then there's Green na they are good at it, no? So they are mapping various vendors here, no? Like for chips, they have Infineon, Calray, and ST Micro, no? And but they also added, no, yung other non-European major players, no? Like of course for chips na GPP, you have AMD and Intel. For specialized silicon, nandiyan yung mga Broadcom, but Intel also does that. Marvell, Nvidia, Qualcomm, Xilinx. For RF, it's Qualcomm and Xilinx. And then for foundry, you have Intel, Samsung, and TSMC. So their findings was, well, Europe would have some promising startups, no? But medyo small and fragmented pa sila. So this basically tells them that those companies, those industries need support, no? So they might be able to give a tax break or importation benefits, no, for other products, or maybe reduce employment complexity, no? If they're gonna hire engineers specific for that red basically industry, no? So yeah, yun yung typical format nito, no? So next we have RAN hardware. Um, just skip dun sa recta na, no? And ito na-identify din nila na okay, sa radio units with active antenna, orange, yellow sila, no? But sa DUs and small cells, no, medyo mahina si Europe. Okay. And then yung full run elements, Nokia lang yung meron sila. Well, hindi pala lang, no? Nokia is a big player, no? But with Open RAN, no, they would have to catch up because they would also have to maintain yung old deployment nila. And now they have to spawn a different maybe division, no, to handle Open RAN. Because if the big players like Nokia, Ericsson, and Huawei, no, would not want to embrace Open RAN, mapapag-iwanan sila. No, I mean, Nokia was already left out sa phone industry, no, sa customer phone deployments with Android and iPhone. No? So ito na yung market segment nila for now. So they would want to support Nokia para maka-develop ng Open RAN. So again, this maps out saan sila mahina, saan sila magaling, and where do these companies and organizations need more support. So RAN software, ito yung mga baseband components, RAN intelligent controller, and SMOs. Ito medyo yellow sila. Maraming companies, no, that supports internally within European Union for this. And then they have, of course, yung mga major non-European players. No? So could you imagine even VMware, no, is playing in RAN intelligent controller field. And we have some of here existing, no, like management orchestration, Amdocs, may local representation tayo, and Samsung is also on that field. So basically, yung nakita nila is most of the trials and deployments, no, were done by US companies, no. Altostar, Mavenir Parallel Wireless. Okay. Then there have development by US and Japanese companies like NEC and Amdocs. With very limited activity from Nokia, Ericsson, Capgemini, no, but they're also trying to do it. Next, of course, yung cloud part of Open RAN. They were saying, no, pag cloud hardware, it's gonna be the usual vendors, no? Dell, HP, Contron, Samsung, Lenovo, Vapor.io. And Red Sea European kasi, well, apparently they are not that big on manufacturing cloud hardware. No? But for software, no, Canonical, the makers of Ubuntu is European, and SUSE Linux too. But they have competitions kay abroad, no? VMware, Red Hat, Google, Microsoft. And then for the cloud, of course, we haven't heard of OVH Cloud. But we've heard din some major non-European players, no? So AWS, Microsoft, Azure, Google, IBM, Oracle, actually not so much, no? But they are players, no? At least sa US side, they are players na realize ni Open RAN na ni European na mahina sila talaga. Okay. Next we have services where this one, di ba, saan sila pwedeng mag-play, no? If services yung gusto nila. And they found that, well, for SI and testing, no, they are good. No? Well, there are other major non-European companies like Accenture, NEC, IBM, HP, Tech Mahindra, and TCS that does it, no? For SI. No? But yeah, they found at least system integration testing, they're good, but yellow sila sa enterprise services. And the main players here would be Google, Microsoft, and Cisco. Right? So yeah, you could see they are trying to map out where they could help yung industry. Okay na. Kasi they expect no, na by 2026, which is roughly 2 years from now, no, Open RAN will account for a substantial portion of 5G system integration market globally. So that's around 13.3 billion euros in total segment. Yung SMI card is 13.3, but yung total segment worth is 27.7 billion euros. At least that's their prediction last year. No? Hopefully that still stays. So yun yung the services industry would really fly off. No? And of course, you have development. And this, of course, consists mga open ecosystems in Europe. And not sure why walang graph na, but basically we're able to identify 13 major open RAN players in Europe compared to 57 non-European counterparts. So it's not bad, but it's slow, no? It's low compared to the non-European, which is 57. They basically have maybe 1/5 no, of the market share. But Europe is a big chunk no, of advanced tech, no, and they wanted, of course, a chunk of the revenue right, for their economy. No? And what are they basically estimating? No? So that's the future estimates here. The estimated value chain by 2025 of Open RAN dictates no, that actually, if you can see here, yung RAN hardware, basically, medyo mahirap ng entry dyan, no, and chips. But there is a huge possibility no, in cloud and RAN software that most people and organization will be able to come in to play. Kasi especially for Philippines, na may skill set tayo dito sa dalawang to. And the largest one, no, yung services, we could actually handle this, no? Hence, I think this is one of the reasons to where Ayora no, comes into play. Now, if we could develop skilled engineers, no, we could have a part no, of this boom in Open RAN in the next few years. Hence, we're trying to develop these guys. No? R&D tends to be expensive, no? So naka-NA yung development. No? It's really just create a new technology and then maybe fan it out across value chain too. No? But yeah, realistically, chips and components tsaka RAN hardware medyo mahina tayo. Pwede tayo manufacturing. Yes, no. We've done Intel chips before. But yeah, I think the easiest ones to get into for us no, would be the cloud and RAN software and eventually services. No? And yeah, over the next few years, we are at 2023. But this was released, I think, 2 years ago. No? So I'm not sure how on track this graph still is. But yeah, it's around ×3 growth no, for the next 3 years in revenue. So there is a huge market for Open RAN, really, especially for skilled engineers. We have here a sample no, for Open RAN vendor distribution where if you could see na si Europe, I mean, it's not, it's not exhaustive. No? But for Europe, I think compare na medyo maliit lang sila. And then if you get North America, they are actually, well, they're one of the main proponents of Open RAN. So they have a good amount of vendor there. If you check Southeast Asia, malaki yung chunk din natin, no? But it's mainly Japan and India, no? yung nandito. And well, Korea, Samsung is Korea. But nothing Philippine specific, no. Sad to say. So we have here yung next reading, no, and some reflection or summary paper that would be required for the course of how Vodafone, no, basically studied, no, building open RAN ecosystem in Europe. I'm a bit conservative on the timing, no. It's 29 pages, technically kaya ng 30 minutes na, but some might not, this might be new to some, no? So baka may needs more time and coffee, no? To digest yung study. So I estimated this 2 hours, no? But technically 29 minutes mga ano. 29 pages siguro mga 30 minutes ng ideally. But again, some of you might encountering this for the first time. So in-expand ko na konti yung ano, yung estimate, no? Then lastly, we have Open RAN, early adoption benefits. So basically a study lang, no, nung NEC, no, that says that you could have as much as 25% reduction of cost for early adopters as compared to Open RAN if you deploy early. Bakit? Kasi well, you do have legacy equipment that you already bought for billions of dollars, no? So now magta-try ka mag-deploy ng Open RAN. So this basically is trying to entice telcos, no, to adopt early and don't wait for others, no. Parang hinatay ko muna kung si ganitong telco nag-adapt, kung okay sa kanila. But they're saying na yeah, adopt early, learn it, you'll have yung specialization and expertise on it, so you would be able to gain yung benefits moving forward. Kasi if you could kill, no, yung mga legacy equipment mo early on, diba? You got savings. Of course, yung mga legacy equipment kasi malalaki yan, no? You got reduction of data centers, real estates, no, that where data centers are hosted. Of course, yung cooling and power solutions for that, no? You have that avenue gonna be a reduction, no, sa needed capex and opex mo to operate yung telco. And maybe some premium, no. Ito yet to see pa sa akin kung mas mura ba mag-open RAN talaga or mag vendor lock-in. I'm sure a lot of this big monolithic vendors would try to drop the price to retain their customer for quite some time pa, no, para medyo hindi mag-open RAN kasi they would lose market share if they do, no? But over time, no, it's really gonna be more beneficial for everyone if we would move to open RAN again to increase innovation, no? Kasi you will not be tied up to a certain vendor, no, for all your needs. You would be able to mix and match, no, various components for open RAN. So got here two other readings, no? See, one from NEC and then one from Zensafili, no? This one's a bit big, no, but this I think captures what we need for our environment and class.